Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Jason Terry, all going to the Brooklyn Nets. Celtics get 3 number ones, 2014, 2016, 2018.
You want to add players with a championship pedigree. The 3 players here, all champions. But the biggest thing I think for us as an organization now, I think we've got pieces now that we can compete for a championship, and that's our goal.
Just stuff. Clearly the Celtics are tanking.
This trade did not help Brooklyn. Instead of contending, we had washed up talent, and eventually became the worst team in the NBA for years. Boston Celtics found underrated talent who were ready to compete. During this time, due to the trade, they had our picks, which would end up being 2 top 3 draft picks. They were supposed to be the next dynasty.
With the 3rd pick in the 2016 NBA Draft, the Boston Celtics select Jaylen Brown.
Number 1 pick in the 2000 NBA Draft goes to the Boston Celtics.
This is pretty good. It's a good time to be a Celtics fan.
Isaiah Thomas. He is a super special player.
I want to be not just one of the best basketball players ever, but one of the best Celtics to ever play.
Here right now at Eastern Conference Finals and with the number 1 pick, there's a lot of good fortune that's come our way.
Had my fingerprints on it, they get the number 1 pick.
Can you admit, even though you were in it, that was one of the worst trades in NBA history, right?
it was up there, you know.
His excitement about building something special here in Brooklyn. But I introduce to you the new general manager of the Brooklyn Nets, Sean Marks.
First of all, it's a real privilege for me to be here. I have a clear vision for what I'd like to implement here. A solid, strong foundation, a systematic process, and we'll be putting something out there on the court that the community can be proud of.
In the 2017 NBA Draft, the Boston Celtics select Jason Tatum.
Kyrie Irving going to Boston, Isaiah Thomas going to Cleveland, along with some other players and a draft pick.
Marcus, Terry, all those guys just want to be great. You know, we were all internally trying to be great. I think around that time, it felt incredible in terms of the energy that we were building, especially for the future in Boston.
Kyrie Irving hasn't been, the player that he was in terms of his body language, his mood, and the kind of effect that was perceived as having on the team.
And then what better place to do it than Brooklyn with all these guys that have worked their tails off.
Kyrie ain't going back to Boston.
Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan are going to the Brooklyn Nets. I have been waiting for this moment.
It feels so good to be a Brooklyn Nets fan right now. The future's looking bright finally.
And I don't think we were trying to be great as a team to meet at the top. And that happens in team environments all the time, whether people want to admit it or not. So everyone has a role to play, and you see the most experienced teams end up winning the championship because they all buy in and sacrifice.
There is not one single team in the NBA that can be less than 100% and beat the Brooklyn Nets.